What's up, everyone? DKRACK here, about to react to another video for you guys, and I'm about to check out 3 true disturbing Halloween horror stories by Mr. Nightmare. Like always, guys, I'll have a link to the original video down below. Let's check out some of these Halloween horror stories. Ooh. Nice sound effects.
Halloween 2016. My 3 friends and I, who for the purpose of this story will be named J, K, and L respectively, were trick-or-treating downtown. Downtown was always a mob scene on Halloween only because the houses were so close together, meaning more candy for the amount walked. 10 o'clock was always the time things really started to die down, and by 10:30 we were really the only kids still out trick-or-treating. Only like 1 in 10 houses actually opened their doors this late, so we called it quits with the trick-or-treating and decided to just screw around. It was a Saturday night after all. As we called it quits with the trick-or-treating, a lone person in a clown costume was walking really slowly from the black fog in the distance.
That's not creepy at all.
This was a legit clown costume too. The makeup was crazy. From the slit mouth smile to the blood-filled boils, it was a scary costume. The 4 of us laughed and screamed in reaction, but ultimately walked away. We went to a park that was nearby to just goof around, make a mess with silly string and shaving cream and whatever. We weren't the first, however. Strands of silly string littered the playground, as well as shaving cream smudged on the walls.
I bet that clown is gonna follow them.
Spell out obscenities. We all hung out on the playground, but Jay pointed out to the dark horizon, where 2 clowns were walking over to us.
Oh,
one of them the same clown from earlier. I didn't think it was possible, but the second clown was even more disturbing than the first.
Oh.
The first clown now seemed to be wielding some kind of long, spear-like object. They both approached us really slowly. The funniness of the situation quickly wore off as they got closer and closer. Then they started to charge us. We all ran in different directions. One of the 2 clowns was chasing me. Out the park and down the street I ran. I didn't know the area too well, but I did know how to get back to Elle's house. I ran all the way there. About halfway there, I lost the clown. I called Elle and told him I was in his backyard. He was out of breath, but he said he just lost one of the clowns and was on his way over now. I said I'd called Jay.
Creepy clowns, I hate them.
Luckily, Jay picked up on the first ring. He wasn't being chased, so he didn't sound as freaked out as Elle did. I told him to meet us at Elle's house. 10 minutes later, all 4 of us were in Elle's backyard, gathering our thoughts and discussing what just went down. We had a good laugh about it now that it was over, as we ate some of the candies that we got. Kay went home, while me, Jay, and Elle hung out in the living room for a while. Lights off, TV on, playing some Xbox One party game. Jay looked out the window and then ducked, and told us to shh and turn off the TV.
No!
When we asked why, he said there
was
was
the clown in the road?
I didn't believe him, so I looked out the window. He screamed, "Don't," but it was too late. The clown standing outside of Elle's house looked right at me through the window. I shut the curtains and told Elle he wasn't
Yo,
home.
that's creepy!
His parents weren't home, so going to his dad wasn't an option. Instead, we shut off the TV and went upstairs to Elle's bedroom. We looked out the window. The clown wasn't there anymore. Actually, we never saw either of the clowns again. But the next morning, Elle texted the 3 of us, saying he found a rubber clown nose on his backyard patio table. He said it was obviously placed there with intent to scare us.
A rubber
Mission
clown
accomplished
nose?
Because it worked. Luckily, that clown epidemic didn't last more than a month later. After that, it just became an old story.
That's still creepy. Jeez.
It was a school night Halloween. My mom and dad took my 2 twin brothers out trick-or-treating. I didn't have plans, so my parents kind of forced me to answer the door and hand out candies while they were gone.
Oh, that sucks.
Since we live in a cul-de-sac on a dead-end street, we get next to no trick-or-treaters on Halloween, so every time the doorbell rang, I kind of jumped. I was in the living room watching TV, with the bucket of candies next to me on a small table. Butterfingers, the one and only candy my mom always got on Halloween for some reason.
I like Butterfingers. They're pretty good.
The doorbell rang, so I took the orange bucket and brought it to the door and opened it. There was someone in a scream mask and robe holding out a pillow sack. It didn't look like he got a lot of candy for the night, and given that the night was almost over and nobody was really coming to the house, and he was alone, which is always kind of sad, I gave him a bunch of candy. He walked away without saying thanks, which kind of made me feel bad, but it was honestly whatever. I stopped thinking about it as soon as I sat back down on the couch. The movie I was watching ended, so I started surfing the channels. During one of the brief moments of silence as the TV flipped from one channel to the other, I heard a thud and a bump come from downstairs near the back door.
That dude trying to break in his house?
To better hear what it could have been, I turned the volume on the TV all the way down and went to the stairway. The back door was wide open. My heart started racing as I started to feel sick inside. I had forgotten to lock it when I went back there. The big question was
keep your
if
door
what I heard
locked.
was the sound of the door opening or closing, and if someone was in the house. Naturally, I called down the stairway for my mom and dad, and then my twins' names. The silence from down in the dark den was creepy as hell.
I would have
was
got
afraid to
out of
go
that
down
house.
there.
I would have left.
Unfortunately, there's no door to separate the main floor from the den stairway, so sitting in the living room suddenly didn't seem very comfortable. I kept the TV on, but muted. I just felt safer with the extra light it provided. It took a while for some reason, but it finally hit me to call my parents and ask them to come home.
Or call the police.
My mom said they'd be home within half an hour. I told my mom I was scared that someone was downstairs because I heard something. She assured me that there was nothing and it was just my imagination.
Oh, how does the mom
I hung
know?
up the phone and immediately heard the sound of wood foundation cracking under one of the carpeted steps to the den. I froze on the couch.
No.
Literally,
Hide.
I couldn't move a muscle,
Hide!
not even a finger. Then there was another crack. As silently as I could, I sat up from the couch into a half-crouched position, tiptoeing to the front door. But as I passed the couch that blocked the view of the den stairway from the living room, I saw something on the stairway. It was a scream mask, leering up from the stairs at me.
It's the dude
but in a
who
way where he was
trick-or-treated.
obviously not trying to get caught. The angle at which I saw the mask and the dark lighting made the sight so much more disturbing.
Get out of there.
When he saw me, though, he went the other way, back into the darkness of the den. I locked myself in my room upstairs and called my mom again to tell her what happened.
Call the police.
They cut their trip short and came home. Only when my parents got home did I feel safe to leave my room. My dad and I checked the whole den, every closet, every room.
No.
Luckily, there was no one. The moral of the story simply comes down to keeping your doors locked, because apparently this guy just helped himself through our back door.
What was wrong with that dude to just... Was he trying to hurt someone or was he just trying to like rob the house? I don't know.
My older brother was having a Halloween party. He was a sophomore in college. I was actually only in the 8th grade. Our parents weren't home all weekend, so he was taking advantage of the opportunity, I guess. He made it abundantly clear he didn't want me in the house during the party, but fortunately I already made plans to go trick-or-treating with 2 of my friends. We all agreed it would probably be our last year trick-or-treating, so we wanted to make it a good time. We started midday right after school, the prime time where most kids were out, most everyone answers their doors, and still had abundant supplies of candies. We each filled 2 bags of candy by dark, making
2
stops at our
bags?
houses in between to bring them home, of course. But we weren't done. We weren't satisfied yet. We needed another bag, of course.
3 bags?
After eating dinner and resting at my friend's place for a while, we went back out with empty bags and flashlights. You'll find out why in a little bit. It was probably around 9 o'clock now. Getting candy was a bit slower by now since most buckets were empty and not everyone was answering their doors. An hour flew by because we were still having fun, though we didn't get much candy this time. By the time it was like 10:30 or 11, we stopped because it just seemed obnoxious to knock on people's doors this late.
Yeah, most people are probably going to bed.
Everyone already went home because it was a Tuesday night, a work night and school night. But we already agreed we'd be skipping school the next day. We were all in the same homeroom and already knew nothing was going on at school tomorrow. So to us, the night was still young. So we went for a run.
Oh,
to what
something
locals
bad's
called the
gonna
Ghoul
happen.
House. It was a house with some history. A couple got divorced after their child somehow died in the house, and then the wife moved out. A couple weeks later, the husband shot himself at the kitchen table.
Oh, that's creepy.
It's been fenced off ever since. Why the house hasn't been sold or torn down by now is beyond me. When we got there, we realized how scary the house was in the dark. It stood taller than the other houses, and it had a black fence surrounding the front yard, with overgrown bushes hugging it. The front gate was pretty easy to hop. The deviance of what we were doing just made it so much more thrilling. We walked around back just to be safe, hoping no neighbors would see us.
There's gonna be some demonic spirit
in there. The back windows were boarded up from the inside, and the back door had a table wedged up against it. Someone clearly tried really hard to keep people out, possibly a neighbor. Through teamwork, we were able to lift the table quietly from off the door and onto the grass. The door was missing a doorknob.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Easily. We were inside, and it felt weird, felt uncomfortable, and at the same time exhilarating.
Yeah, because there's a ghost
All
in
of us
there.
had our flashlights, creating a decent amount of light in the otherwise pitch black building. We were in the back living area of the house, some kind of den. The wood floors were all creaky as hell, and everything seemed to have been untouched for years. It didn't seem like anyone ever really broke in there before. That room was clear of anything interesting, so we moved on to the kitchen. An archaic fridge sat in the corner. One of my friends opened it up, and immediately the room filled with a stale, rotten, plasticky type odor.
Oh!
The fridge had some old empty milk and orange juice cartons. That was about it. The whole kitchen smelled foul.
Had to have been really old.
Next was the living room, and this room was just creepy. Something about it, I don't know, it just made you think that any time you turned around, there'd be someone standing in one of the corners.
No!
One of my friends pointed his light up and said, "Look at that." There was a giant hole in the ceiling, which led right up to a room upstairs. As my other friend and I also shined our lights up there was a couple thumps from right above us. We all shut our lights.
No!
I got that horrible, painful feeling in my heart area from what I just heard. We all whispered very, very lightly that those were definitely footsteps. One friend whispered we should go up there, see what it was. My other friend and I said absolutely no way and started tiptoeing to the back door. But he was persistent. He didn't follow us. Instead, he went upstairs. He didn't even make a good effort at being quiet about it. We kind of felt like we had to wait for him down in the living room now, so we stayed put.
And they never saw their friend
we heard
again.
His footsteps upstairs now, crossing the upstairs of the house, until he stopped right above us. My eyes were adjusted to the dark by this point, so even without our flashlights on, I was able to see the figure of my friend, standing above us.
Oh no, there's going to be something behind him.
I tried whispering up there loud enough so that he could hear, but apparently he couldn't. I didn't want to get any louder, but suddenly we heard footsteps coming from the stairway in the living room. We both turned on our flashlights and shined them up to the top of the staircase to see our other friend walking down the stairs. The realization set in immediately, and neither of us had the balls to shine our lights up to that hole in the ceiling to see who was actually standing there. I just screamed run, and we all booked it to the back door, out the house, and to one of my friend's house. The friend who went upstairs said he smelled something foul up there, like a rotting carcass, and that he also heard breathing coming from one of the rooms. To this
Oh!
day, we have no idea who was in that house, but it seemed unlikely that it was just another curious wanderer, given how boarded up the house was. To say the least, we don't go there anymore.
That's disturbing. It was probably, honestly, I've seen shows and watched things like ghost stories and stuff about sometimes there can be like the smell of rotting. If there's like a spirit or a ghost in the area, there can be like the rotting smell of the remnants or leftovers from when that person was alive on Earth. I don't know for sure, but that was 3 true disturbing Halloween horror stories by Mr. Nightmare. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, please make sure and smack the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. If you have another video you want me to check out, comment down below. But until next time, guys, peace.